Straight ahead on CCX News, plans for a major makeover in Crystal. See what business owners have to say about it. Plus, dogs rescued now ready for adoption in Golden Valley. And later, talk about on-the-job training. We'll show you how some kids dove right into working the lunch hour rush. CCX News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. A small section of one of the busiest roads in Crystal is set to get a major makeover.
City officials are planning a major redesign of Bass Lake Road between Bottineau Boulevard and West Broadway. As Delane Cleveland reports, some business owners hope it will lead to more customers.
On any given day,
everybody in Crystal drives by this area on a relatively regular basis.
Thousands of cars drive down Bass Lake Road in Crystal. It's one of the reasons why Dominic Nazra decided to open Dominic's Tax Service in this strip mall.
I've been reading and hearing that there's going to be a light rail that's going to come this way and so much development coming this side of town.
But in the 3 years he's been here, he hasn't exactly gotten a max return on his investment.
It's been really slow.
Parking in the area is relegated to 2 side lots. And while the streetscape in front of the strip mall is adorned by trees, flowers, and benches, it's not great for visibility.
The trees kind of gives an obstruction as people are driving by. They cannot really tell what businesses are at the strip mall.
Crystal officials say the intent was to create a park-like atmosphere to mirror nearby Becker Park. But Community Development Director John Suter says it's outdated.
You know, everything wears out, and as you can see, the brickwork, the mortar is failing, and you'll see this all up and down the streetscape.
Now, big changes are on the way for the area.
It seems like the lack of on-street parking is really making it harder for the businesses to succeed, and we really want to try to change that.
Thursday night, Crystal will ask for the public's input on a $400,000 project to redesign this section of Bass Lake Road by getting rid of the trees and planters and creating parking spaces in front of the businesses.
We're not taking any lanes away. We're proposing to take some of this unusually wide streetscape and put parking along Bass Lake Road, parallel parking, and then there'll still be plenty of room for pedestrians on the sidewalk.
For now, there is not much sidewalk traffic, which is why business owners we spoke to welcome the plans with open arms.
Anything that will bring more visibility of the block is most welcome.
A design workshop and open house on the Bass Lake Road streetscape project will take place Thursday night at the Becker Park Pavilion from 5:30 to 7 p.m. The city is looking for the public's input before the project moves forward. Construction could begin in the fall or in the late winter. Mike?
All right, Delane, thanks. A candlelight vigil is expected to take place tonight in the Robbinsdale neighborhood where a man was shot and killed. The man is identified as 29-year-old Jody Fry of Chicago. He was shot multiple times and then found dead in a vehicle. Fry was in town attending a Father's Day celebration Sunday at his aunt's house and was leaving the gathering that night when gunfire broke out. No arrests have been made. Police continue to investigate to try and determine a motive.
Here is a follow-up to a story last week involving 37 dogs rescued from a Bloomington warehouse. The Animal Humane Society in Golden Valley now says those dogs are ready to be adopted.
The dogs, as they're individually ready, will start trickling into our adoption centers. They'll be listed online. They'll have a special project notation on their profile, and that's really how the public can take note of these particular dogs and when each one will become available.
The dogs are all different breeds, ages, and sizes. They're in pretty good shape overall, although if you're considering adoption, it's always a good idea to be patient and take time to learn the dog's personality. The dogs were removed from an animal rescue called Love Me Again after complaints came in about overcrowding and poor sanitary conditions.
For whatever reason, some of these people get in over their heads. They don't have the appropriate staff. They don't have the appropriate vetting resources. They don't have the appropriate facilitary effects. And they have more animals than they can adequately maintain by themselves. And pretty soon you get that snowball effect.
The founder of Love Me Again Animal Rescue is being investigated for animal cruelty. It is up to the City of Bloomington prosecutor whether charges will be filed.
Students at Minnesota's two-year colleges like North Hennepin and Hennepin Tech and Brooklyn Park will see a tuition increase for the first time in 5 years. Officials described the tuition rate increases as moderate but necessary. Trustees approved a $48 increase at two-year colleges starting this fall. By law, those schools were limited to a 1% tuition increase for the next school year. Officials also point out increases in grants to students should cover the cost for many of the students, especially those from low-income families. A tuition freeze takes effect beginning in the fall of 2018.
In Golden Valley, the city has changed its ordinance to allow food trucks in residential neighborhoods. The city heard from residents who were interested in having food trucks for wedding celebrations and graduation parties. Under the new ordinance, each homeowner will be allowed 2 food truck permits over a 1-year period. A permit costs $40. 2 food trucks would be allowed per property, though there are rules on how close they can be to neighboring properties. The new food truck ordinance takes effect on June 29th.
Well, some kids in the Osseo School District are spending their summer focusing on reading and community engagement. That's one way to get fired up for a morning reading session at Fair Oaks Elementary in Brooklyn Park. About 200 students are taking part in a 6-week multicultural literacy program called Freedom Schools, which emphasizes civic engagement.
We are giving kids a glimpse of what it's like to be successful, what it's like to just be an important member of the community, being able to make change, being able to advocate and address needs that our community is facing, and then that kids have a voice.
And the school brings in guest readers, including Dr. Yvette Jackson with the National Urban Alliance for Effective Education. Still ahead, an inexpensive way that your whole family can learn how to fish.
Plus, football season is still a couple months away, but local high school teams are working hard to get ready.
But first, more nice weather with low humidity on Thursday. But today was perfect fishing weather. The Brooklyn Park Police Department took time out of their day to go fishing with about 130 children at Sunfish Pond. For many of the kids, this is the first time they've ever gone fishing.
I don't want to hold it. You don't know what's going to happen. It might just like fly back and then it lands on you.
The police say the goal is to give the children a healthy activity to keep them busy and out of trouble. The event also helps to build relationships between children and officers.
You break down the tension just by the fact that they're out here in a non-enforcement capacity, just going out fishing. We break down those barriers and we're building great relationships. That's what's important.
Hy-Vee and Brooklyn Park provided lunch for the kids. This is the 9th year for the Cops and Kids Fishing Tournament. Well, if your family isn't hooked on fishing, here's an inexpensive way to learn.
In today's Money Savers, Neil Persley shows us an angling opportunity you may not have heard about.
It's easy to recognize "I got one" in any language. Fishing is an activity anyone can do, and compared to many other activities, especially if you have kids, it can be very inexpensive.
Kids fish free. They don't need a license up until they're 16 years old. And then adults that can fish in a state park without a fishing license, as long as they're fishing from shore or on a lake that's entirely within a state park.
According to the Minnesota DNR, there are over 5,400 fishable lakes and over 18,000 fishable rivers and streams in Minnesota. If you don't think you have enough knowledge to teach your youngster how to fish, not to worry. The Minnesota DNR has a program called I Can Fish, specially tailored to introduce you and your child to angling.
So we've got all the gear, we bring the bait, we've got trained staff, we have great fishing piers and stocked lakes, and they can come out and fish.
Fishing can bring family members together no matter what their skill level.
I've been fishing until I was probably 7. Yeah. My father taught me a lot about fishing.
Brendan and his brother were at Coon Rapids Dam Park fishing the Mississippi River and having pretty good luck. They weren't using any costly gear and yet having a rewarding experience.
It brings the family together, and sometimes families could enjoy fishing together.
The most precious thing you'll expend fishing with your family will be your time.
And I know with my family, so many great conversations happened while we were just sitting in a boat, waiting for something to bite, and it was just great, memorable moments.
And that will be time well spent. For Money Savers, Neil Persley, CCX News.
For more information on I Can Fish, you can go to the Minnesota DNR website. You might also want to check with the Three Rivers Park District for a list of locations that they recommend. Although if you are over 16, you will need a fishing license for lakes in the Parks District. Still ahead, middle school students see what's cooking in a unique workday lesson.
But first, kind of a tough night for a local American Legion baseball team. Jay Wilcox has the details.
The state high school baseball tournament wrapped up Monday with title games. The American Legion season is now well underway, with some of the same high school teams that made the state tournament making the quick transition. That includes Champlin Park. They hosted Fridley in North Hennepin Legion ball. Scoreless in the top of the second, Fridley with a man on third. Mark Porter lifts the fly ball to center field. It's deep enough to score Noah Covenhoven for the first run of the game. In the top of the third, Caleb Brandt rips a line drive to the gap. Michael Yu comes all the way around from first to make it 2-0 Fridley. Brandt gets a triple and comes home on a sacrifice fly for a 3-0 lead. And Brandt is really good on the hill as well for Fridley. He gets the strikeout here in the third and tosses 5 shutout innings. Evan Shaw gets the ball for Fridley in the 6th and 7th and keeps the Champlin bats quiet as Fridley wins this one 3-0. We showed you yesterday on CCX Sports Maple Grove's Sarah Burnham advancing to the championship round of the Minnesota Golf Association's Women's Amateur Match Play Tournament. In the championship match Wednesday morning, Olivia Herrick of Delwood CC took an early lead and went up by as many as 4 holes before Burnham rallied on the back nine to make it close. Former Drake University golfer Herrick won 2-up over Burnham, a former Wayzata High School star who plays for Michigan State. Well, school is not in session, but local high school fields, gyms, and courts still have plenty of activity. A local football team is building toward what they hope is a bounce-back season. The calendar says June, but it's football time at Osseo and other local schools. Summer practices with certain limitations have become a way of life, and it's an important time of year.
It's important so we can get the core installed into what we're going to do and the expectations of what's going to happen this season.
I feel like it's the most important part of the year because it's starting to get warm out. We're starting to get outside, starting to hit the weight room harder, and it's really starting to figure out who is ready for Osseo football and who's not, who's ready for varsity football and who's not.
It's the second time around for head coach Ryan Stockhouse, who took over during the offseason in 2016 after the Orioles had won a state championship under previous head coach Darren Lampker. It's a much different feeling this summer.
Being able to kind of go through the offseason, really take time to put our systems in place, and invest a lot of time into that incoming senior class. We're really focusing on building leadership and working on some of the things that we lacked last year. Trying to be a more competitive team, trying to be a more mentally tough team. Where we're at coming out this June feels significantly different from where we were a year ago.
Like many teams, Osseo's heading as a group to a college camp. They leave for South Dakota State Thursday.
Playing football in the summer, having competitions, teams you don't usually get to see out in the season, so just overall it's a good experience. Kids come together and team comes bond together.
As an individual, it'll bring me closer to people that I don't necessarily know so much on the football team. It'll bond us, bring us all together, you know. It's a 4.5-hour bus ride. If you don't know the guy sitting next to you, you will.
We do lots of 7-on-7, lots of indie work. It's really great because we get an opportunity for our players to see a college campus, and for other college coaches to get access to our players, and then get a little bit of live hitting. We do a big competition at the end where we get after it a little bit, and it's really hyped up, and it's kind of fun. You find out what you're working with.
Osseo dropped off to a 2-7 record last fall after capturing that Class 6A title in the fall of 2015. Each and every workout is geared toward building into a better team when fall rolls around. Osseo will have about 75 players heading to the South Dakota State 3-day camp. The Orioles are also hosting a 7-on-7 passing league this summer. That's all for sports. Back to you, Mike and Alex.
All right, Jay, thanks a lot. Still ahead, serving up lunch with a resume builder.
Middle school students get real restaurant experience when we come back. A group of middle school students received some valuable on-the-job training today at a Plymouth restaurant.
Yeah, the training came during the busy lunch rush. So how did the students do? We get more from Eric Nelson.
I think that everybody really likes this and a lot of people should know about it. Okay, now I'm busy and
There were too many cooks in the kitchen today at the Rock Elm Tavern in Plymouth.
Number 11.
Which was a good thing.
The kitchen is kind of crazy right now, and they're really rising to the challenge.
Yes.
This is the Wooden Spoon Project,
Can I get you more coffee? Or
a program designed to give kids an up-close look at the work world.
we learn about running a small business.
17 of them were at Rock Elm,
Hi.
waiting tables,
Can I get you anything to drink today?
taking orders, and seeing how a kitchen operates during the lunch rush.
So we have two essential questions we're trying to cover. One is, how does a concept become a profitable business? It's kind of the entrepreneurial thing. And then the second is, how do motivated and talented individuals make a difference in the world?
It's a lot more work than I thought it would be.
The pace was frantic and hectic,
Yeah, okay.
but the students made a seamless transition
2 Diet Cokes.
into their temporary job.
It's really fun and fast-paced, and I really like it.
They're being very mature. They're stepping up in a situation they don't really fully understand, and they're helping each other.
The Wooden Spoon Project is a win-win proposition.
I got their drinks
The
and
kids get hands-on experience, and Rock Elm donates 25% of profits to charity. Giving back is part of Wooden Spoon's mission.
we're gonna go to Cub Foods, and with all the money we make, we're gonna buy food and donate it to Interfaith Outreach.
In Plymouth, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
This is the 4th year of the Wooden Spoon Project, which is part of Intermediate School District 287's summer school program. This is also the first time the Rock Elm Tavern has hosted the event. And if you haven't done restaurant work, it's
Tough
hard work.
Yeah,
and,
good
and
to
everybody
see
should
that.
have that experience. I
That's
think.
right. Get a little feel for it.
It sounds like they did pretty well. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We will see you back here on Thursday starting at 4 o'clock.